to name that we get to learn with our first presenter right now. And many of you know her, but she does deserve a formal introduction because we don't get to be together, whether virtually or online, with her very much. You know, we have our periodic times that we get to learn with the researchers, but here she is. So, Dr. Tanya Wright is coming up, and she is an associate professor of language and literacy in the Department of Teacher Education at Michigan State University. She's a former kindergarten teacher whose research and teaching focus on curriculum and instruction in language and literacy during early child and elementary years. She's an author of several books: A Parent's Guide to Reading with Young Children, Nurturing Knowledge, Building a Foundation for School Success, All About Words, Increasing Vocabulary in the Common Core Classroom, A Teacher's Guide to Vocabulary Development Across the Day, most recently, and Literacy Learning for Infants, Toddlers, and Preschoolers, Key Practices for Educators. Her work has been published in journals such as The American Educator, Elementary School, Reading Teacher, Reading and Writing, Reading Research Quarterly, and the Journal of Literacy Research, and the Journal of Teacher Education. We know her, we love her since the first time that she joined us back in 2016. For those of you who've been around, it is such an incredible joy to be with Dr. Tanya Wright today, and she's going to start to talk about you. So Dr. Wright, please come on up. Let's welcome her.
Does this one work? Yeah. Okay, so I probably leave that. And this is my forwarding. Cool. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's coaching camp. Yes! I'm so excited. It's like my favorite thing to come to Traverse City for Coach Camp. I get excited every year. And last year I did a thing, and I really want to do it again today, which is get a selfie with all of you. Yeah? Okay. So, but I realized last year that I only got like the middle of the room, so I'm going to do two. This is just not fun to not get everybody. All right, so hope you're ready. Here we go. Okay, this side of the room. Middle of the room. Okay, this side of the room. All right, it's recorded. We're here, we're doing this thing, we're getting started. I'm so excited to be here. The first thing I'm going to share with all of you today is about a report that EPIC, the Education Policy Innovation Collaborative at MSU, in conjunction with colleagues at MDE, have put together. Many of you have filled out annual surveys where you share information about your work as a coach. And what happens at EPIC with wonderful colleagues is we gather all of that information, as well as from surveys with superintendents, administrators, teachers from all over the state, and we get a sense of what's going on in our state, particularly around coaching. So I just wanted to share some information. So this is not from this year's survey that you filled out this spring. It's from the previous year's survey to give you a sense of what's going on with coaching. Okay, so as all of you know, literacy coaching is considered a key mechanism in our literacy policy in our state, right? Our Read by Grade 3 law considers coaching to be an important way to create instructional change. Am I flipping it, or are you guys? You want to do it? Me? Okay, sorry, forgot. Okay, so in our state, right? So all of you are an important part of how we're going to improve instruction in our state in early literacy and support teachers and children in our state. I know you know that. But we have several different kinds of coaches in our state. ISD-funded coaches who are sort of funded through the mechanisms of the law. And then, of course, there are also district-level coaches, right? And school building level coaches that are also working to support literacy instruction in our state. Sorry. Okay, so I wanted to share some information. And in all of these studies, the ISD-associated early literacy coaches, people who identify in that way, which is many of you in this room, most of you in this room, are going to be the green. And district and school-based coaches are often that sort of purpley navy blue kind of color. And just to share some information about what we found from these surveys. So first, that ISD early literacy coaches were significantly more likely than other kinds of coaches in our state to engage in evidence-based coaching activities. So what do we mean by evidence-based coaching activities? Those are the things that are in your coaching essentials, right? So conferencing with teachers, co-planning, modeling instruction, engaging in observation cycles with teachers. The part that were more likely for school or building-based coaches to be doing, which is probably not surprising, is analyzing assessment data. Okay. So that's good. Everyone's looking at me very seriously, but that's positive news, right? People are generally doing what we want them to be doing. Okay. This one's a little harder to read. Green is early literacy coaches, navy blue are district coaches, and our regular sort of blue are school-based literacy coaches. And so what is this telling you? Well, in general, Michigan literacy coaches are spending most of their time working directly with teachers. So again, a really good thing, right? Because a lot of the studies that have been done of coaching say things like a lot of administrative work and other things suck coaches away from teachers. So it's wonderful to see that providing one-on-one literacy coaching to teachers is by far, that's that top line, what coaches are mostly spending their time on, followed by providing other literacy professional development to groups of teachers. Okay. So that's a really, really good thing. Nobody looks as excited as they should be. I'm telling you good news. Okay. All right. More good news. Teachers believe their literacy coaches have a positive impact on their instruction. Oh, I forgot to tell you a really important thing, actually. So just backing up. That very first slide that I put up, actually, and you all will have access to the slides, I'll go back to it at the end, had a QR code so you can access the full report online. So just remind me to go back at the end if I forget. Okay, so teachers believe literacy coaches have a positive impact on their instruction. I'm realizing this is really, really small for you. But it says that teachers believe literacy coaching improved their practice regardless of the type of literacy coach with whom they worked. So these are things like, I am better able to address literacy learning needs of my students. I am a better literacy teacher, and you can see these are huge majorities of teachers, right? In the 80% of teachers who respond say these things. I am better able to provide differentiated instruction. I am better able to identify literacy learning needs. I am better able to plan and organize my instruction. More, right? Teachers perceive literacy coaches to be more beneficial than any other form of literacy professional development that we ask them about. Okay. Yes, we're getting excited now. I love it. Okay. Everyone felt a little sleepy for a moment. All right, so I am a better literacy teacher. I'm better able to address my students' literacy needs. All of that is going on here, but again, this is compared, right? So this was as a result of one-on-one coaching. Okay, so that's the really exciting news. Now I'm going to say some of the challenges that are going on. Because it's important for all of us to be aware. I know you're aware of the challenges because you're living them every day, but I want to share some information because it's important, especially as you are interacting with other coaches in our state or you're interacting with administrators or anyone who may have power to make change, okay? So supports for literacy coaches are unevenly distributed. And what you can see there is the green ISD early literacy coaches, or people associated with that, many of you in our room, are getting way more support, like this, what's happening right now, than other kinds of coaches, our building coaches or our district coaches. So you can see in all of these categories that say things like opportunities to collaborate with other coaches, workshops on essential instructional practices, print, video, and digital resources, professional organization membership, workshops on essential coaching practices, ongoing support, all of those ways, the folks in this, am I doing something wrong? No. Oh, okay. Oh, that's my fault, because I'm supposed to change it. And I changed it on mine. There we go. Everybody just say something. We are not very formal here. You all know that. That's why I call it coaching camp. I don't call it like coaching something else. I don't know. That sounds more formal. Okay, it's coaching camp. All right. The green, right? So what that means is that the folks in this network, right, are getting a lot more support for their work as a coach than typically district or building coaches may be, which tells us we have some work to do in our state because there's lots of other coaches doing stuff and they need support as well, right, to figure out how to support literacy instruction in our state. I'm gonna get this right this time. Here I go. Yay, okay. Michigan literacy coaches, especially ISD early literacy coaches, are spread across many educators and buildings, and you all know this, right? Spread thin, and that makes a big difference to what all of you can do. So if we look down the first column, if you can see it, it's pretty tiny. You will get the slides, and you can look at the report. But ISD early literacy coaches are on average, right, working with 15 teachers, 3 other coaches, 4 schools, and 2.5 districts, right? And I know many of you are doing more than that. Those little numbers below, like the 13 below, says to me that many of you are actually working with 28 teachers, right? Or up to 10, 11 districts, or 10, 11 other coaches, or 6 schools, or 4 different districts plus, right? And it's hard to do this work with so many people to support. Okay. Time is a major challenge for literacy coaches. I know I'm telling you things you already know. But what we're hearing, right, insufficient time for teachers to work with me during the school day, insufficient time for me to meet individually with teachers, insufficient time for me to visit individual teachers' classrooms, multiple responsibilities that pull me away from coaching, large number of teachers I'm expected to work with, insufficient time for professional development. So those are the kinds of things that we're hearing from coaches across the state. Did I get that right? And then this one is really important. Literacy coaches may not be reaching the teachers who could most benefit. And that is because teachers are still most often identified for literacy coaching by requesting it. So while it's wonderful when someone requests it because you know they're on board and they want to be coached, the challenge is that there are teachers who may need a coach who may not be requesting a coach. So this is across the board for all different types of coaching. Teachers typically request coaching is the #1 way that teachers are actually getting to work with a coach. So that's something that we have to think a lot about. So of course we want to form partnerships with people who want to partner, but also what about people who may not know that this is something that could work for them if they gave it a try. Okay. So just some key messages. I'm going to put them all up for you. So I didn't show you data on this, but Michigan literacy coaches, all of you, are very highly qualified individuals, so that's wonderful, and highly qualified according to what it says you should be qualified as by the law. Supports for Michigan literacy coaches vary widely. And some of the coaches who may receive less support may find coaching more challenging. You all are spread too thin. We don't have enough coaches for the magnitude of the task in our state. And teachers who could most benefit from literacy coaching may not be receiving it yet. All of you are wonderful at doing research-based practices and allocating your time in alignment with the Read, Write, Grade 3 law and the coaching essentials. And most important, the teachers that you are working with have positive perceptions of literacy coaches. They think you help. So that's a really, really good thing and is very important, right? Because you're really making a difference in how teachers feel about the work that they have to do. What do we need to do? And these are more recommendations for policymakers and practitioners and anyone who you might be talking about. Of course, continue to increase funding for literacy coaching, right? The more coaches there are, the less that spread thin feeling is going to be. Yes, thank you. Okay, that's my yes to the people who are actually reminding me. So I'm moving it forward on my slide, but I'm forgetting to also move it forward on your slide. I'll get it by the end of the week. So we got to hire more literacy coaches. I know all of you know this, and I know you're all advocating for it with whoever you could talk to. But this other part, I think that you could use your voices, to keep sharing, number 2, which is how are you all, but also those school-based and district-based coaches working together, and especially around like allocation of coaching supports, who gets coached. I know some of your ISDs are already doing this, but train the trainer type of models where ISD coaches are working more with building and district coaches, and that sort of differs from ISD to ISD. And then some more intentional integration of literacy coaches, all of you, into sort of district and school operations, including figuring out which teachers are going to get coached. And again, as you all know, that differs widely from ISD to ISD, district to district, and building to building. So that's all I have to get started this morning, just to sort of give you the big picture, lay of the land of what's going on in literacy coaching. I think the most important finding from all of this is how much teachers appreciate all of you and what you're doing, and how much you feel them, how much you help them to feel good about their work and to feel able to do their work. So congratulations, thank you, keep up the good work, and looking forward to talking to you more about all sorts of stuff this week. So.
Tanya, thank you. Thank you for starting us off this week with a lot, like she said, that we know. This is our work. We know a lot of the realities that she shared. But also, do we take the time to actually hear the impact of our work? All day, every day in our profession, we are serving others and telling them and handing them the realities of their impact. Are you taking the time to do that for yourself and for each other? And as we know, we can't pour from an empty cup. So there are so many connections between what Dr. Wright just shared with us and what we're going to dig into more this week. For example, after break this morning, Dr. Susan Lallier is here in the space. We haven't seen her since 2019, and exactly. And the things that Tanya shared, which is from the data, couldn't have been more perfectly aligned with what Dr. Lallier is going to continue to lead us through and toward throughout this year. So tons of connections between the data about our work and the ways that we'll continue throughout this year. But let's not move too quickly past you acknowledging your power and your impact.